And order number 8.
Order number 8, motion by the Chairman of Lands, Housing, Physical Planning and Settlement.
The Honorable Hezron Ngetich, please move your motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to move a motion on the Chelimo fiscal, on local fiscal land use and development for 2024 to 2034. The Committee on Land, Housing and Physical Planning and Settlement is a sectorial committee on the County Assembly which was established and oversee implementation of all matters relating to all the matters relating to land surveying, mapping, housing and boundaries fencing. The mandate of the committee, Mr. Speaker, is that is established pursuant to Kericho County Standing Order number 194, which states the subject area to be all matters relating to the land surveying, mapping, housing, boundaries, and fencing. Mr. Speaker, allow me to start at on the background of this motion, Mr. Speaker, that Chelimo Physical Land Use Development Plan Physical and land use plans provided for under the fourth schedule of the Constitution. The Chelimo Local Physical and Land Use Development Plan covers the area of 815.8 acres as, entailing 5 villages, namely Koita, Moiti, Chepchirik, Simotwet, Showground, and Lalanga. It defines the general trend and direction of the special development of the area. It aims at achieving and organize integrated, sustainable, and balanced development. This plan will inform the future land use and distribution of activities by providing guidelines for better organization and linkage between the different activities within the urban space, which is an important milestone for the county government, considering the land has remained undeveloped in spite of the prime location within Kericho municipality. The plan is timely and as Kericho municipality is faced with increased demand for land for public purpose and utilities. It shall also be supported by realization of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda through the designation of the land for various purposes, including affordable housing, universal healthcare, and industrial development. The approach adopted during the preparation of the plan was highly participatory, collaborative, and consultative, and is brought on board the participants from the diverse background, including the county government, county commission of Kericho, the state department of land and physical planning, land allottees, the squatters, among others. This is not only the conformity with the constitutional requirement on the public participation in the policy making, but also it provided the requisite basis for the implementation of the plan. The plan shall support the implementation of the Kericho County Special Plan, the Kericho Integrated Urban and Strategic Plan Development Plan, and the Kericho County Integrated Plan. It will provide a long-lasting solution to the land ownership conflict existing in Chelimo. It will henceforth provide basis for the decision-making and development and control in order to realize the vision of the plan. The county will support the implementation of this plan in order to achieve optimal and land use and provide for expansion of the town. The plan, which covers a long-term period of 10 years, 2024 to 2030, will address the land use, social, economic, and environmental use to achieve balanced and sustainable spatial development plan and optimal land use Chelimo. The plan provides comprehensive spatial framework to guide the growth and development of the urban area to promote the principle of order, safety, environmental conservation, and sustainability. It is in accordance to the framework of various sectors involved in project planning, implementation, and it will provide the much needed land for accommodate the urban land requirement for the expansion of Kericho town. It will also form the basis for which the decision will be made to determine the future use of the land in Chelimo. The objective of Chelimo Physical and Land Use Development Plan. Mr. Speaker, the main objective of this plan is to act as a comprehensive guideline for the urban development and also provide for the basis development control. The plan was prepared in participatory manner to involving the key stakeholders in decision making. The activities undertaken include the transect survey, review of the legal framework, stakeholders analysis, structured mapping, and land use designation. The key planning issues noted as squatter settlement, lack of urban infrastructure, and utilize vis-a-vis anticipate national and county government development plan. The plan proposal addresses the pertinent planning and development challenges in entailing key projects to spur development of Chelimo. Some of the key projects proposed include the affordable housing for the minimum of 2,000 units, stately national referral, technical Hospital Special Economic Zone, Governor and Deputy Governor's residence, showground settlement of squatters, among other, as entailed in the map. The implementation of this plan is expected to provide solution for most of the concerns that have become critical to the growth and development of Kericho municipality. It is therefore expected that the plan proposal will be a significant step towards achieving the development vision of Jelimo area. Further, it is hoped that the plan will be given appropriate support by the various actors. History of Kericho Town. Mr. Speaker, Kericho Town is an urban plan is thought of been in 1921. While still in the lands of colonial administration, the town was gazetted Market Center in 1924 and 1996. It was upgraded to urban council status covering an area of 4 square miles, that is 10.254 kilometers square. By 1973, its size was increased to 66 square miles, that is 168.96 kilometers square, when it was upgraded to the town council status with a population of 10,000 persons. In 1980, it was upgraded to municipal status covering the same area. Before the opening of the physical planning office in Kericho Town in 1983, the physical planning matters were administrated from Nakuru. The plan used to 1981 a plan with the main central business district being area of particularly concerned to the then administration. After 1983, physical planning matters involved the municipal council, and therefore the council became active in a day-to-day running of the town. History of the Jelimo area. Jelimo area is a public land and designated under approved development plan number 9, reference number R222/80/11 of 1980. It is located to the southeast of Kericho Central Business District. The area was likely designed for deferred land. Other proposed land use with the zone include the Arboretum Showground, extension of Kericho Teachers College, Cemetery Rehabilitation Center. The Trifaclical Municipal Council of Kericho allocated part of the Jelimo land to a number of beneficiaries, some of whom are processed ownership document. In 1981, the comprehensive development plan for Kericho was prepared and approved by the Development Physical Planning under the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. In the plan, Jelimo was designated a deferred land. The council advertised the plots and therefore allocated them individually as by the set guidelines and procedure of allocation of land. The exercise was undertaken by the district allocation committee chaired by the district commissioner and secretary being the then town council. Other members of the committee include the mayor, the surveyor, town engineer, chairperson responsible for land committee in the Trifaclical authority. The process for allocation of Jelimo land by the district allocation committee was as follows. 1, the plots were advertised in the Kenya Gazette. Number 2, interested persons were applied for the said plot. Number 3, district allocation committee sat to consider application and compile the minutes and list of successful plot applicants for ownership forwarded to the permanent secretary, Ministry of Land, Housing and Physical Planning for action. Number 4, allotment of letters were processed and issued to the successful applicants. Further allocation were made on Jelimo without a comprehensive plan for the area. In the year 2017, a 20-year integrated strategic plan development was prepared by the county government of Kericho. In the plan, Jelimo was identified for urban expansion and proposed as Jelimo New City. Part of the users were to be accommodated in the parcel include the Arboretum Showground, Governor's Residence, Deputy Governor's Residence, and the County Referral Hospital, among others. The last one remained uninhabited for a long period due to the lack of infrastructure like roads, electricity, sewer line, and water for support of development. Consequently, the land invaded and settled by squatters. A further lack of enforcement by the former municipality and the county government of Kericho and tried the stay of squatters and persons. Eviction of the item was by the county official were met with hostility from the squatters who have continued to grow in number. The allottees filed a case in the court and evicted squatters from the land, but the case lost its cost amounting to 750,000 because the case had no particular names of squatters to be evicted in the farm. The breakdown of the allottees list document holders is as follows: that 7 are those 1 acre and above. The total acreage of this category is 128 acres, 0.33 acres. But 505 of this with less than 1 acre, giving a total of 155.90 acres. 168 allottees have crucial, which have parcel which with the size is not indicated. The total number of allottees and leasehold is 710 holders. The representative Jelimo Plot Owners Association held a meeting with the County Executive Committee member in charge of land physical planning and settlement and the permanent secretary for the State Department of Land Physical and Planning where they agreed to move the one area of the farm to pave way for the planning of the entire parcel of land. However, they were skeptical about the proposal to have the size of their land to be reduced. To achieve this development plan, the Department of Land, Housing and Physical Planning engaged the squatters by negotiating them with a view of achieving mutual beneficial solution. The same was spearheaded by the Principal Secretary at the State Department of Land and Housing Planning. In the negotiation, it was resolved that there were need to preparation of physical and land use development plan for provision of infrastructure, public service, and the land use. It is envisaged that this plan will form a basis for settlement of the squatters and allottees. Further, the allottees, through their leadership, compile a list of all the beneficiaries, including the copies of the letters of allotment, drawings, showings, their parcel, and payment receipts. The squatters were equally enumerated through the Office of the County Commissioner in collaboration with the County Executive Department of Land, Housing and Physical Plan, as well as State Department of Land and Planning, and list of squatters to be considered was drafted. In view to resolve the conflict between the allottees and the squatters, the County Government of Kericho requested the State Department of Land and Physical Planning to technically assist in a preparation of Jelimo local and physical land use. To achieve the practical approach towards resolving the settlement of Jelimo land, a multi-agency task force was constituted to carry out the mandate of the identifying the squatters as well as considering the development of a development plan for Jelimo area. The multi-agency task force compiled a list of 1056 households identified on the Jelimo land and further group identified as Machengo Talai. The multi-agency task force was chaired by the county commissioner, comprises of the following: the county executive committee member in charge of land, housing and physical planning; number 2, chairperson committee on land, housing and physical plan settlement; number 3, vice chairman committee land and physical planning; number 4, members of the county assembly representing Kapkugeret and Kipchebarwa; number 5, representative of the National Land Commission; number 6, representative from the area member of parliament; number 7, land registrar; number 8, team of surveyors and planners from the department lands, among others. The table below captures the list of the squatters allottees benefiting from the Jelimo, where there is 3 columns, that is the number, the description, and the number. Number 1, number of household, 1056, number of allottees, 600, number of squatters replaced from Bajeko, 32, number of displaced showground, 20, number of identified on the ground but not captured in the list, 227. Churches 2, total number to be 1937. Committee's analysis on the table on the total acreage allocated to various purposes. Land allocated to squatters, leasehold allottees, and those reserved for other purposes is summarized below. We have 4 columns, that is the number, the category, the percentage of the land allocated, and the acreage. Squatters is 19%, which is 155.002 acres. Number 2 is a leasehold, which is 11%, 89.73. Number 3, allottees 8%, 65.264. Number 4, reserved for the public purpose, 62%, 505.796. A total of 100%, which is 815.8 acres. Mr. Speaker, the above budget of Jelimo land is captured in allocation for roads, protected zones, and other purposes. It is worthwhile to note that the allocation towards the roads exceed the accepted number of 15% by 1%, since the standard allocation for roads usually range between 10% to 15% of the total planning area, but Jelimo use 16% of the total planning area. Mr. Speaker, the reason why it exceeded is because of future expansion, because the city maybe in future we can incorporate things like standard meter gauge railway and the cable, so that is why it exceeded by 1%. Planning preparation process. The plan preparation process was guided by the provision of the Physical and Land Use Planning Act of 2019. The table below highlight the planning processes showing the phases, the steps in which the phase of the activities was involved. So, Mr. Speaker, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is there is a 4 column, which is number, phase, step, and activities. Number 1 is pre-planning, initiation of the preparation of the concept. Activities were initiation, preparation of the concept. Number 2, notices of intention to plan publication into local dailies and cassettement. Notice of intention to plan the publication into local dailies and Kenya Cassette. Number 2, planning, data collection, and activities is a scoping of the contingent. Delineation of the planning area, based preparation of the survey report, identification, analysis of the planning issues, preparation of thematic plans. Another step is vision, formulation of agreed upon vision, formulation proposal. The activities is identification of intervention, B, selection of the intervention, formulation of development strategies, formulation of guidelines and standards. The step of planning validation include the preparation of the plan, incorporation of the common circulation of plans on comments. Another step was the notice of completion, that is, Mr. Speaker, publication of the 2 local dailies and cassette. And cassette. Number 3 is approval. The step is a plan approval. Number P is notice of approval. The activities include the submission of plan to the county approval, publication in 2 local dailies and a cassette. Mr. Speaker, what are the planning principles? The planning principle of Jelimo physical and development planning was prepared on the following principle: order, safety, and harmony. The plan seeks to enhance the principle of order, safety, and harmony and land use for planning development. Livability. The planning shall enhance the livability index in the area, housing, environment, transportation, health, and social engagement. The settlement will be economically viable, socially inclusive, and ecological sustainable. Number C is accessibility. The plan will promote the public transportation over private transport to ensure efficiency and functionality of the urban place. Number D, sustainability development, balancing social, economic, and environmental dimension of development and catering for the current and future generation. E, smart green urban growth. The plan shall promote sustainable use of energy, creation of green spaces, reduce the number of car travel, the promote use of the local material, support business, and creation of the unique character. Number F, promotion of ecological integrity. The plan shall promote the protection and conservation of the environment sensitivity area. Number G, effective public participation and engagement. The plan shall be in preparation, participatory, and consultative manner with the relevant stakeholders and sectorial sectors. 2.7, the legal framework, Mr. Speaker. The following key legislation have briefly outlined the potential impact on the spatial planning of Jelimo under the Jelimo local physical and land use of Development Plan of 2024 to 2034 and significant implication. The Constitution of Kenya 22 Article 10(2)(c) provides that the national values and principles of governance include good governance, integrity, transparency, and accountability. Article 60, subsection 1 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, on the principle of land policy and the land Kenya shall be held, used, and managed by the manner in which that is equitable, efficient, productive, and sustainability, and in accordance with the following principle: 1, equitable access of land, security of the land rights, sustainability and productivity of management of the land use, transparent and cost effectiveness of administration of the land, sound conservation and protection of ecological sensitivity areas. EF, elimination and gender discrimination on the law, customs, and practices related to the land and property in the land, and encroachment of the communities to settle and dispute through recognized local community initiative consistent with the Constitution. Article 60, subsection 2 further state that the principle shall be implemented through the national land policy developed and reviewed regularly by the national government and through legislation. Article 60, subsection on the regulation of the land use and property states that the state may regulate the use of the land on any interest or right over the land in the interest of the defense, public safety, public order, public morality, public health, or the land use planning. Article 67 of the Constitution establishes the National Land Commission, which is mandated inter alia manage the public land on behalf of the national and county government, and also monitor to have oversight responsibilities over land use planning throughout the country. The National Land Commission Act of 2012. Mr. Speaker, Section 3A on the objective of the purpose of this act provide that the management and administration of the land in accordance with the principle of the land policy set out in Article 60 of the Constitution and the national policy. Section 3D gives the linkage between the Commission, county government, and other institutions dealing with the land and land-related resources. Section 5(2), Mr. Speaker, stipulates that in addition to the function of the National Land Commission, the Commission shall, in accordance with Article 67, subsection 3 of the Constitution, with the consent of the national and county government, alienate the public land and monitor the registration and interest of the land. Land Amendment Acts. Section 3A provides that this act applies to all the land declared as public land under Article 62 of the Constitution. Section 8 provides that the management of the public land to include the identification of public land, geofencing, surveying, resourcing, mapping, and evaluation of overall potential for use. Section 12(7), allocation of the public land, provides that the public land shall not be allocated unless there has been plans, surveyed, and the service and guideline for the development prepared in accordance with Section 17 of the Act, which provides the placing of care, control, management of reserved public land. Section 12A further provide that the public land allocation under this section shall not be sold, disposed of, subleased, subdivided unless developed for the purpose of which it was allocated. The Physical and Land Use Act of 2019, Mr. Speaker, which was further amended to be 2012 2021. Mr. Speaker, the Section 3A of the objective of the Act provide for the principal procedure and the standard for the preparation and implementation of the physical land use development plan at national, county, urban, and rural and cities level. Section 22(1), the purpose of the objective of national physical and land use development plan is provide this plan shall define strategic policies for the determination of the general direction trends of the physical and sectoral development in Kenya and provide framework for the use and development of the land. Section 22(2) states that the national physical and land use development is in the basis of 1. Environmental conservation, protection, and improvement. B. Promoting social and economic development, including national competitiveness. C. Promoting balanced national development. D. Optimal use of the land and natural resources. E. Formulation of the national physical and land development planning policies. F. Guiding the inter-county, county, and local planning. G. Coordinating sectoral planning and development. H. Managing human settlement. And I, providing framework for guiding the allocation and development of strategic national investment and infrastructural development. 39A, Mr. Speaker, say that outlines the content of the county physical and use development plan to include A, policy, strategic, and general proposal for the development and use of the land. B, summary of the situational analysis. C, proposal for the proper county development resource utilization and linkage with the neighboring counties. D, diagrams, illustration, the distribution of the current anticipated development in the county. E, the implementation strategy. F, reporting, monitoring, evaluation strategy. And G, any other matters which may be prescribed. Section 39(2), in addition, provision of subsection 1, the county government shall take into account the matters specified in the first schedule of this act. Section 45 provide the preparation, physical and land use development either for the short-term, long-term respective of the city, municipality, town, or unclassified urban areas as the case may be purpose for it therein. Urban Areas and Cities Act of 2011, Mr. Speaker, this establishes the legislative framework for the classification of areas such as the urban area cities, governance and management of urban area cities, and participation of the resident in the governance of the areas and cities. The statute or led to establishment of Kericho municipality and respective board of oversees the affairs of the municipality development and adopt policies, plans, strategic program, formulation, implementation, integrated development, control, use, land division, land development, and zoning by public-private sectors for the purpose within the framework of the spatial and master plan for the municipality, promote and undertake for infrastructural development service within among other functions. The County Government Act of 2012, Mr. Speaker, the section 104 of the application of the plan of the county provide that the county government shall plan for the county and no public funds shall be appropriated outside the planning framework developed by the County Executive Committee and approved by the County Assembly. The Kericho County Survey and Mapping Act of 2015 say, Mr. Speaker, this is an act of the County Assembly of Kericho that provides the land surveying and mapping of to promote efficiency, accountability, transparency, and survey process, and also to promote integration, land survey, land registration, organization, administration, and land survey and mapping, ensure proper land surveying governance. The Kericho County Environmental Management Act of 2021 is the county legislation that provides for the management of the environment, control air, noise pollution, waste management, and general nuisance in order to promote clean, safety, and healthy environment and provide for the matters of incidental thereto. Physical and land use planning, that is special planning area of regulation. The objective of the regulation is to provide for the framework for the declaration of special planning area and preparation for approval of special planning area, plans pursuant to section 52-53 of the Physical and Land Use Planning Act. What is the policy framework, Mr. Speaker? One, session paper number 1 is session paper number 3 of 2009 of the National Land Policy NLB. Kenya has not had a single clearly defined national land policy since independence. The formulation of this policy is to provide for overall framework and define the key measures required to address the critical land use administration, access to land use planning, environmental degradation, conflict, and a plan proliferation of the informal urban settlement and development control as well as tenure. The Chelimo local and physical land use development plan will ensure that all the situational Chelimo area marked for planning and development put into productive use and sustainable basis for facilitation and implementation of the key principle on land use productivity, targets, guidelines, as well as conservation. It will ensure encourage multi-sectoral approach to land use, provide social, economic, and incentives, and put in place the enabling environment for investment and habitation. Number 2, session paper 1 of 2017 with national land use The policy has been taking consideration all activities that are likely to have an impact on the land use and resource. The overall goal is to provide legal and institutional and technological framework for optimum utilization of the productivity of the related resources in the sustainable and desirable manner at the national and county level. The policy is premised on the philosophy of the economic productivity, social responsibility, environmental sustainability, and cultural conservation. Key principal information of include efficient access of the land information, equity, elimination of discrimination, and public benefit sharing. Further, this policy cognizant of the numerous factors that affect the land use in Kenya, which include geographic and ecological features, population distribution, social, historical, cultural, and economic factors. Other key factors are administrative, institutional, and policy instruments, investment, urbanization, and land tenure to ensure efficient productivity and sustainable use of the key measure which shall be taken by both the national and county government and all the land use. These include the sound land use practices, conservation, enhancement of the quality of the land and land-based resources, and the proper management of demographic and the health parameters. The government shall institute mechanisms designed to include landowners to put their land to productive use and encourage the application of efficiency technology in the intensification of the land use. Upon land use is being improved through measures such as establishing transparency and accountability, sustainable, comprehensive, and participatory governance and structure in decision-making process. The plan is therefore informed by the policy as to achieve its main objective, optimal or utilization of the land. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, put the bottom-up economic transformational agenda, Mr. Speaker, of Kenya Kwanza administration. The bottom-up economic transformation agenda is anchored in the 5 main pillars, namely the agriculture, micro, small, and medium enterprise (MSMEs), economic, housing and settlement, healthcare, digital, superhighway, and creative. These target sectors that have highest impact on the drive of economic recovery and growth, thus improving the prosperity of the region of the country by maintaining sustainable GDP growth of a rate of 10% from 2012 to the year 2030. Therefore, the Jelimo Physical and Land Use Development Plan core pillars in realization of the main objective of bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Number 4, National Expansion Plan 2015 to 2045. The National Expansion Plan supports the implementation of the strategic national projects, specifically the flagship projects spelled out under the Vision 2030 by indicating their spatial allocation and providing framework absorbing the spatial impact of this project. It provides the coordinating framework of sectorial planning which has been lacking in the country, and its aim is to address the disconnect that exists as long between the physical and economic planning. This is expected to result in the prudent use of the country's scarce resources, as the plan provides platform for prioritization of the programs and projects within the implementation mechanism. The plan is essential under devolution, as it provides a guide for development planning by the counties as they discharge their responsibility preparing the county and local plans. It provides physical planning policies which the plans of the at the county level are expected to articulate and propagate. These policies include the protection of the rich agricultural land, conservation of identified environmental sensitivity area, urban containment, and the promotion of industrial development, among others. Number 5, the Kericho County Special Plan 2027. The Kericho County Special Plan is a crucial plan that ensures that all the resources within the county are fully utilized for the well-being of the residents of Kericho County, and it forms the guideline for socio-economic and development for Kericho. This plan interprets the national and the regional policy for county level and provide framework for guiding the land use, integrates the sectorial policies, and provide program on which to anchor the county level development plan. Therefore, the Jelimo Physical Plan and Land Use Development Plan is important to realization of the implementation of the plan. 2.9 Jelimo land budget as per the Jelimo Physical Plan and Land Use Development. Mr. Speaker, that is a table which has 6 columns. Number 1 is the first column is zone, second is username, third column is area in hectares, the fourth is total acreage, The fifth is acres, area in acres, and the total acres. So the residential, under residential, Mr. Speaker, we have residential affordable housing, governors resident, deputy governors resident. The total will cover 315.86 acres. Industrial is special economic zone, which will take 83.6. Education, under education, we have ECDs, education center, KMTTs, KTTC, that will take 68.2 acres, Mr. Speaker. Under the recreational, Mr. Speaker, that will cover Arboretum, green neighboring, playground, recreational garden, that will take 15.2 acres. Public parks include the cemetery, community center, county offices, Kericho Municipal, Kericho County Hospital, Kericho, I think Kericho County Government land, health centers, judiciary, NEMA, that will take 124.3 acres, Mr. Speaker. When you go to page number 26, Mr. Speaker, we have commercial. Under commercial, Mr. Speaker, this include the markets and what have you, it will take 15.4. Public utilities like the KBLC sewer treatment will take 17.4. Transportation, that is bus park and road, will take 131.7 acres. Conservation include conservation area, that's 38.3 acres. Mixed use development will take 6 acres. Total, Mr. Speaker, when you sum all, will give you 815.8 acres, Mr. Speaker. Remember, Mr. Speaker, the total acreage was 824, but which was plannable is 815. Committees of observation, Mr. Speaker. The committee on land, housing, and physical land assessment made the following observation. One, the committee observed that the area that there are 1056 households, 600 people. Let me repeat. The committee observed that there are 1056 households, 600 people with allotment letters, 32 people displaced from Machingo Talai, 20 displaced from the showground, 227 identified on the ground but not captured in the list, and 2 charges, bringing the total number to be of the person within the interest to be 1,937. The second observation, Mr. Speaker, is that the land area of Jelimo is approximately 815.8 acres, whereby the development land is given 711.6 acres, and undevelopable is given to be 104.4 acres, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, the Jelimo Land Task Force Committee considered 600 people who had been allocated land by the district plot allotment plot allocation committee in the area in the year 1992, 1994, and 1998. Number 4, the Passpag and areas for Jelimo covers a small area less than 1 acre. Number 5, the task force report were provided land for 2 charges. Number 5, the committee observed that the total number of size for Jelimo is 68% is reserved for the county development, 90% settlement of squatters, 11% reserved for the people with leasehold agreements, and 8% those with allotment letters. Number 7, that upon the successful rollout of the Jelimo's local and physical plan, Kericho town will be expanded significantly. Number 8, apart from the land set aside for the extension of Kericho Teachers Training College, measuring 7.2 acres, 17.7 acres, the Kericho Teachers College as first land, which has not been fully utilized as the land set aside for extension for the purpose for other use. Number 9, that the land has been provided for cemetery, community center, county offices, county referral hospital, county government, land, fire, health center, judiciary, NEMA, and NGAO, NTSA, the police quarters, police purpose, Nat Lions Club, Showground, and Kericho Lodge. Number 10, that the land for university or research center and the county assembly of Kericho has not been provided for in the plan. Number 11, that the central business district area has only 1 link road, which after expansion of the town will be heavily congested. That the 2 churches within the allotment, one in African Defined Church and Elizabeth, Mr. Speaker. I think that was the chairperson of that church. Public participation and public memorandum. Mr. Speaker, after doing this, Mr. Speaker, we saw it fit as a committees to do what we call public notification or public participation. And the County Assembly of Kericho undertook the public participation and advice in the Standard newspaper on 10 September 2024. The members of the public were required to respond a way of submission of memorandum, which were to be received on or before 17th day of September 2024. A total number of 64 petitions were received by the County Assembly. Observation of the public memorandum. Mr. Speaker, that most of the names were omitted in the list of the squatters and allottees, that the unknown person were listed in the squatters, that there were duplication of the name in the list of the squatters and allottees. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, the personal identification number of beneficiaries were not matching ID identification cards and the names. Number 5, there was conflicting numbers of beneficiaries in both the list of allottees and the squatters. Mr. Speaker, those are the observations which we noted after doing public participation. Mr. Speaker, allow me now to give to read out, Mr. Speaker, Lands Committee proposed amendment for Chelimo, Mr. Speaker. Number 1, that the land set aside for Kericho County government measuring 7.94 acres, 20 acres be utilized as follows: 15 acres be reserved for future expansion of the town, 2 acres to be reserved for county government of Kericho, and 3 acres to reserve for county assembly of Kericho. Number 2, that the land be set aside for special economic zone measuring 33.585 acres, that is 83 acres be reduced by 13 acres to be used for future expansion of Kericho Central Business District. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, on the proposal is that the land set aside for affordable housing development measuring 9.31 acres, which is 23 acres, be reduced by 8 acres to be used for future expansion of Kericho Central Business District. Number 4, that the land set aside for showground in proposed plan be shared equally between the showground and the modern stadium, since the initial plan land for the modern stadium had not been provided for. Number 5, that the land set aside for extension of Kericho Teachers Training College measuring 17.8 acres should be repurposed for the EITA research institution, public university, technical vocational education training, or any other institution of higher learning. Number 4, that the more link roads be provided for Central Business District area to ease traffic congestion. Number 7, that the parcel of land set aside for the residential settlement subdivided and used for animal overnight and resource for income in the tourism sector. Number 8, Mr. Speaker, is that all the churches and other institutions not captured and already exist on the ground be noted and determined. Mr. Speaker, or number 6, Mr. Speaker, is the committee's recommendation. The committee scrutinized the Chelimo Development Land Use Plan 2024-2034 and made the following recommendation. 1, that all the local fiscal and land use plan prepared by respective county government, county executive committee members should be in line with the approved plans such as the Kericho Spatial Plan 2019 and part of the development plans, PDPs. Number 2, that the proposed amendment of Chelimo Physical Plan and Land Use Development Plan for 2024 that will be considered by the County Executive Committee member for Land, Housing and Physical Plan, the County Executive member in charge of Land, Housing and Physical Plan settlement to factor in the proposed amendment in the plan and forward the same for approval by the County Assembly of Kericho. Number 3, that the CC in charge of land lies with the NLC and State Department of Land, Housing and Urban Planning on the list of genuine allottees and report back to the County Assembly. Number 4, that the CC in charge of Land, Housing and Physical Planning and Settlement to liaise with the multi-agency task force of Chelimo Plan to verify, clarify and list of squatters, clarify the list of squatters and report back to the County Assembly. Number 5, that the project to be implemented in the Chelimo Development Plan use 2024-2034 such as the Special Economic Zone and the Central Business District, the local investors with the capacity and interest of the resident of county be given priority. Number 6, that the export processing zone and the affordable housing project and the commercial centers to be established to be established as a source of employment and the priority to be given to the youths of Kericho County. Number 7, Mr. Speaker, is that Chelimo local and physical land use development for 2024-2020 to be referred to back to the Department for Land, Housing and Physical Planning and Settlement to be incorporate all the proposed amendment and be submitted back to the County Assembly for approval within 30 days after adoption of this report, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, after we have deliberated on the same, Mr. Speaker, we intended to include the members of the public while we were doing public notification, public participation, so that, Mr. Speaker, because this is a plan which has high impact on lives of many people. That's why we needed to capture all the aspiration and the wishes of all the residents, Mr. Speaker. That is why we subjected this plan to public participation. And Mr. Speaker, out of that, Mr. Speaker, we got 63 people who sent the memoranda, and we have incorporated their views in the plan, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, while we were deliberating, Mr. Speaker, we realized that, Mr. Speaker, there were some of the fews which were not incorporated, like the, because it is a model city which will be established, Mr. Speaker, every city has income generating activity, and we, in our view, we saw as a committee to include the Mushiam animal orphanage, Mr. Speaker, to be in a city, because when you go to Nairobi, there is animal orphanage and Musham. When you go to Kisumu, we have a Musham and animal orphanage, Mr. Speaker. Those are the things which bring investors and which bring tourists, Mr. Speaker. And because, Mr. Speaker, Kericho is endowed with team, Mr. Speaker, on its own nature, it is a tourist attraction, Mr. Speaker. And considering the fact that, Mr. Speaker, Kericho is home of Aliman. We have a Musham in Kipkeli and West Sub-County called Fortan and Musham, Mr. Speaker. And because there's no development, Mr. Speaker, on the same, some of the human remains of the first Aliman were taken to Musham in Kisumu. And because we don't have a Musham in the county. So if this can be developed in the new city, Mr. Speaker, we'll now get an opportunity to go and bring those remains of the, and keep in our museum. So that is the reason why, as a committee, we saw it fit, Mr. Speaker, we incorporate animal orphanage and museum. So, Mr. Speaker, all these proposal and amendment we have captured, and we are adopting the report, but we are returning back to the executive to include, to amend the physical plan, to incorporate all the proposals, Mr. Speaker, and to address the contentious issues of the list of the allottees and the squatters, Mr. Speaker, so that the CEC can liaise with the multi-agency task force to clarify some of the gray areas which we realized during the adoption of this report. Mr. Speaker, on the issue to do with allottees, Mr. Speaker, we have conflicting number of beneficiaries. When you go to NLC, they have different lists. When you go to the plot owners, they have a different list. When you go to the ministry, they have a different list. So, as a committee, Mr. Speaker, we return it back to the CEC to liaise with the State Department of Housing and the NLC, who was the custodian, to give us the genuine list of the allottees, so that they incorporate, so that while they are bringing, Mr. Speaker, be at the final caps, Mr. Speaker, whereby we will approve, and now it will be approved in this house and ready for action, Mr. Speaker. So that is why, Mr. Speaker, we saw it fit to adopt and return back this report, so that the concerned department incorporate our proposal and return it back to the House for final adoption. Mr. Speaker, allow me to take this opportunity to thank all the members of the Land, Housing and Physical Plan Settlement for their valuable input and contribution in consideration of the report of Jelimo Physical and Land Use Development Plan for 2024. I sincerely thank this opportunity to thank the officers of the Speaker and the Clerk for the support accorded to this committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee appreciates the input by the State Department of Land, Housing and Urban Development, the county executive officers, the officers of the national government, the multi-agency task force members, and Jelimo community, and all other stakeholders who contributed in preparation of the Jelimo physical land use for 2024-2034. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Land, Housing and Physical Plan and Settlement Committee, and pursuant to Standing Order number 205, it is my pleasant duty to present to this Honorable House the committee report on Jelimo Physical and Land Use Development for 2024-2024 for consideration by this Honorable House. So, Mr. Speaker, allow me to call Honorable Vincent MCA representing the great people of Londiani to second this report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you. Before the Honorable Vincent second, just on the last point where you have that you are saying that that Jelimo local
be coming back from recess, Mr. Speaker, they have handled this report, so that immediately we are coming back from recess, we adopt. And the reason why we initially we had given 14 days, but we realized it was not realistic, because it needs this report was done by multi-agency team. There is a different multi-agency which was doing the planning aspect, and there was a multi-agency which was dealing with the squatters, Mr. Speaker. So in bringing all of them and coming up with the same report, We saw it 14 days is not realistic, so we saw it well. We give them 30 days, and that is a great opportunity for us again, because even as we are going for a recess for 30 days or close to 1 month. So when we'll be coming back from recess, they'll have handled so that we come and approve, Mr. Speaker. And we'll be having a period of another 1 month between when we are back and long recess. So we will deliberate on that and then we approve, so that as we are prepping for the long recess, we are home and dry on Chelimo issue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Chairman, for clarification. So in brief, or using your own words, then that tells us that we have a month for recess to be utilized by the executive. And then secondly, I'm almost certain that you will need like another 30 days to dispense of the matter once we resume. However, I'll suggest that we cross that bridge when we get there. Let me give it to the second of the motion, the Honorable Vincent Korir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to second this motion on Chelimo Land Physical Use 2024-2034. That is a 10-year physical plan. Mr. Speaker, sir, as a member of the committee, we did our job, and I want to thank the committee and the Secretariat for actually deliberating. Mr. Speaker, we worked as a committee to ensure that there is transparency and there is also due diligence in terms of implementing this Chelimo Land and Physical Use 2024-2025, which is a 10-year. As you know, Mr. Speaker, land is a factor, and it is a factor of production, and also land is at some point emotional, because everybody wants to own land. Again, our county, which is Kericho County, if you can look at our cities that are surrounding us, we are being surrounded by 3 cities now. We are surrounded by Kisumu City, which is just our neighbor. We are surrounded by Eldoret City and Nakuru City on the other side. Meaning, we are left in an island where Kericho County, we don't know whether in future we are going also to be a city. And for a fact, as a county, we don't have enough land for expansion. Meaning, we need to deliberate on a plan so that in future we can also be a city. I remember when you went to Eldoret, Mr. Speaker, you brought a key. And it was symbolic in a manner that maybe there might be an opening in future for us to have a privilege to get a city. But Mr. Speaker, sir, the issue of land ownership. The land ownership is a process, and it has to pass through various stakeholders. Here in the county, we have various stakeholders, the Land Commission, we have the County Assembly, and we have the County Executive. And again, remember, we have the laws that guides the planning and ownership of land. And as County Assembly, we are tasked to actually stand there on behalf of the people so that we can have fairness. The issue of emotion in land, you can look at, during public participation, we received around 64 petitions. And it means there are so many interests in land ownership. More so, even within the county and even the Kipsigis land. Remember, we need to differentiate the community land and the public land and private land. Because we have always been hearing about discussion in our county, especially when you go to the villages, you will hear people talking about land. You will hear people talking about the historical land ownership. And those are the issues that surround us as Kericho County. And again, when you look at this land, the Chelimo land, I can term it as public land because it belongs to Kericho County. Whereas we still also have the community land that people have been discussing about all over the Kipsigis land. That is maybe the land around maybe the multinationals and the rest. Those are the historical. But Mr. Speaker, sir, as a committee and even members of this house have deliberated before, we have realized that it is very important that we take steps that are necessary legally and also maybe that are available at all costs to ensure that whatever is being done is done in a proper way so that we can have a city that is properly planned and that has input of the people of Kericho County. And that is why as a committee, we made recommendations that the county executive, which is mandated by the law, should look at the issues that we have listed here so that they can now amend, take time, and also maybe consult even more so that we can have a good report that is acceptable, not only in this house, but even with the people of Kericho County, the squatters, the allottees, and even the county government, because every stakeholder there has an interest in this land. More so, Mr. Speaker, sir, we factored in some of the issues that maybe were not captured before. There is the issue of the orphanage that came in. Remember, currently we are talking about revenue in Kericho County, so we must consider things that maybe will help this county to grow. Again, there is the interest of the national government where there is the economic zones, where it's going to create jobs for our youths and the people of Kericho County, which should be factored in. And it is very important that all those plans that are required to be in the, that are necessary and important in our future city are also factored in. Mr. Speaker, sir, I know we have a role. Before the implementation of the report, there are issues, especially in terms of the listing of the squatters, maybe in terms of their names, the ID numbers, the number, should also be carefully looked at, carefully examined, and the proper report by the executive, which is mandated by the law, should come to this house when the list has been cleaned, when the list has been verified, and when the list has undergone all steps that are required so that we can have a proper and acceptable list of allottees and squatters that are supposed to get land. Because land in Kenya, we have, everybody has a right to own property in Kenya, whether individually or even in group or in association. And this aspect of land ownership should be followed to date. Mr. Speaker, sir, I know everybody in these chambers has interest, even the county assembly. I saw there was no space for county assembly. We don't know the future. Maybe in future we might require land. And there are so many things that county assembly can do, even in future, even having even housing for our staff. There are so many things, welfare for our staff, and even for the future plans that might come in. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is also an issue of Kericho Referral Hospital. And I hope this one is not mistaken with Londiani National Referral Hospital, which is supposed to be in Londiani. This one, I believe, is for this hospital referral in Kericho. But the one in Londiani will still remain. It's not that it's going to change. Mr. Speaker, sir, we remember that there are industries and there are other aspects that are still maybe need to be captured properly. The roads and other things. Mr. Speaker, sir, having gone through this report, I do second that it did forwarded to the executive, and I believe the time that maybe you have asked is sufficient enough. But if the time is not sufficient, I will still request as a member that we need to take enough time not to rush the decisions so that we have a proper document, because we want to avoid litigations, we want to avoid conflicts, and we want to avoid even further emotions so that we can have a future county, a future city. Mr. Speaker, sir, I second. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Vincent Korir, for seconding the motion. Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that this House approves the reports of Land Housing, Physical Planning and Settlement Committee on the Chelimo Local Physical and Land Use Development Plan 2024-2034. And the floor is open for contribution and debate. The Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Eric Bates.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance to contribute on this particular motion for today. And I want to thank the Committee on Lands, Housing, Fiscal Planning and Settlement Committee for this report, which we've been waiting for a long time. I do support this report, Mr. Speaker, sir. One is because this report, there's an input from myself being a member of the County Assembly for Kipchebor Ward, and also a member of the task force that was formed by the PS for Lands, Honorable Nixon Korir. And I'm happy today because having looked at the memoranda, the record of 64 tells you that there are issues in this report. Mr. Speaker, sir, when I look at even on the issue of the names omitted on the memoranda on page 28, I can see that the squatters and the LOTs. And when you rightly published the list, we could see there were names which were duplicated and also which were not very clear. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I did make a personal effort as the MCA to go to the ground, where I have a school called Koitachi Limo Primary School, where I built a classroom there, and I had a meeting with the members of the public where they called me and asked me questions about this report. Mr. Speaker, sir, I do confirm that they were asking about duplication and say, how comes we have a person who has 3 or 4 names, yet they are missing? And that, Mr. Speaker, sir, rightfully is a genuine concern from those squatters. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I do agree that there are issues in those lists, and therefore it's only fair that those who are concerned, the task force, those who are in charge of LOTs, and also the lands department do go back, look at their list, clarify, remove everything that has not been done very well, so that now we have one report which speaks to the people of Kericho County. Because if we can't do that, then nothing will change, and we'll have issues of litigation in the near future. So I do support, and I want to say that I do support the chairman for lands for having suggested to have the 30 days for correcting of all these things. And I want to request that let this be fully followed up within this period of recess, so that after the 30 days, we don't have one department saying the LOTs did their part, the agency have not done their part, or we have, so that we have, because remember, this will go to different sectors, so that at the end of the 30 days, we don't need excuses, Mr. Speaker. So we just need to have all these issues settled once and for all, so that when we come back, the Committee on Lands can then go ahead and address the remaining issues of approval of this, and probably doing a report which will then be required. I'm concerned because, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is 2024. And from our calendar, house calendar, today we'll be proceeding on recess for 1 month. We'll be back, when you come back, we'll only have another 1 month. And thereafter we'll go for a recess for almost two months, from December up to February next year. My prayer is that this report should be tabled and adopted this year. And so it is my prayer that once this has been adopted, that we fast track, so that when you come back after recess, and then between the month of November to December, this report will be adopted by the House, then allow the Lands Commission and the PS to plan for us, the good people of our town, because it will be unfair that we will not have done this when we have been given a chance to expand our town. So I do want to ask all my colleagues here that let's support this particular move, and let those who are concerned in doing the amendments do their work diligently. Personally, I will not stop to go to the department to ask them what they are doing, because this is at the heart of my. These are the people who are affected. I mean, the area being discussed. Much of the area lies in my ward. And at the same time, again, the issues of town expansion is also very close to me. So, Mr. Speaker, I do support this report, and I want to thank the Committee on Lands and ask them to give the same effort and give same energy as they go back to deal with these issues. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this chance. I do support the report.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Eric Bitt. The Honorable Eric B.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me opportunity just to make my comments on the report on the Chelimo Local Physical Plan and Development Plan 2024-2034. Mr. Speaker, sir, looking at this report, it has captured our attention, Mr. Speaker. I think from the day we were given this report to deliberate on it, Mr. Speaker, I'm very particular on the part of public participation and memorandum, Mr. Speaker. It was very important for this House to be able to publish or to give public members of the public to give their views on the issue of Chelimo, because we've been having so many questions. That is for the public, from the public, Mr. Speaker, asking us. Some were very negative on it, that we should not be approving the land for our fathers, Mr. Speaker. And when it reaches the public, Mr. Speaker, in the publishment of their names, who are the squatters, Mr. Speaker, so many people discuss on the same. And we saw from the public social media, Mr. Speaker, there were so many critiques. And it is over good use, Mr. Speaker. When it comes to the publishment of the name, we realized that some of squatters were never captured very well, Mr. Speaker. And it came eminently that some had a repetition, some also, Mr. Speaker, their personal identification was not genuine, Mr. Speaker, and it has made us to make a very good recommendations. And Mr. Speaker, this now, by returning back to the department, Mr. Speaker, is for them to sit and to discuss with the task force, Mr. Speaker. And the task force this time around, Mr. Speaker, should be fair, and they should be do justice to our people. When it comes to the duplication of the names, Mr. Speaker, these people wanted also to actually take the public land. So, Mr. Speaker, the physical plan is very good, Mr. Speaker. I've gone through the issues of having a special economical zone, which was very important for us, Mr. Speaker. And I know His Excellency the President has been pushing so hard to come and launch this special economic zone. Of course, the affordable houses, Mr. Speaker, which has actually taken a very bigger share, and also the proposed referral hospital, Mr. Speaker. When you look at Kericho town, Mr. Speaker, in the evening, it's looked like a coast town, Mr. Speaker. There is no space for expansion. And in the other hand, Mr. Speaker, when somebody wants to do a business, if you today decide to have a business in town, you will never get a place to do business, because the town is very congested and there are no shops, Mr. Speaker. So I believe by coming up with this physical plan and other development plan, Mr. Speaker, it is going to assist, especially youth who are done with the schools, Mr. Speaker, and when they want to do their business, they have no space whatsoever to do their business, Mr. Speaker. So I believe by having this plan, it is going to break down or to expand this town, Mr. Speaker, so that in future we shall be on history having set and plan and approve by the His Honorable House, Mr. Speaker. I'll be happy in future when I'll be asked who actually put in the plan for the town, Mr. Speaker. I'll be happy to be mentioned as an honorable member who did expansion and, of course, approval of this physical plan, Mr. Speaker, for the people to do their work, Mr. Speaker. So, lastly, Mr. Speaker, the 30 days is enough, and Mr. Speaker, I will also prefer we tax this also to the Committee on Lands, Mr. Speaker, so that when it comes to the real approval in this House, Mr. Speaker, we shall not be having push and pull. So the task force plus the Committee on Lands should also have a very good discussion together. When it comes to this approval, we shall not be pushing, we shall not be published that the Honorable House want to grab the land. The people of Kericho will not be blaming us, Mr. Speaker, having sat and maybe give out the lands for our forefathers, the Kipsigis, Mr. Speaker. So in your direction, please guide us and let the chair or land to be able to follow up the same. I know he's one of the members who actually sat on the task force, Mr. Speaker, but I believe after the commitment, that is when it comes back to this house, you are going to commit back also to the department, the lands committee. So let these people have money and also discuss the report as they prepare the physical plan, Mr. Speaker. You should have their input on the same. Thank you very much. I support the report.
Okay, thank you, the Honorable Eric. The floor is still open. The Honorable Dr. Moses Rotich.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute and to speak to this matter that is before us today, this afternoon, Mr. Speaker. When a name Chelimo is mentioned, Mr. Speaker, it brings emotions, Mr. Speaker. It is a land, Mr. Speaker. Land is a very important commodity, Mr. Speaker. And before we call it land, Mr. Speaker, it is a component of soil, Mr. Speaker, and all that it entails, the components. Mr. Speaker, the land that is before us today is for a public land for utility, Mr. Speaker, to expand our town, Mr. Speaker. It is important to note that, Mr. Speaker, that the said Chelimo land, Mr. Speaker, was allocated, Mr. Speaker. The plots were advertised in the Kenya Gazette. Interested person applied for the said plots, Mr. Speaker. The district allocation committee sat to consider, Mr. Speaker, and allotment letters were issued, Mr. Speaker. Since the said land has not been developed, Mr. Speaker, it is coming to our interest now, Mr. Speaker, that we want to expand our town. Kenya Kwanza administration, and in the passionate appeal of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Mr. Speaker, wanted to make Kericho great, Mr. Speaker. In having a town, Mr. Speaker, it is going to spur and turn around, Mr. Speaker, the economy of this town. It is going to expand into a tune of providing employment, Mr. Speaker, and others that it entails, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the Lands Committee for the careful research report, Mr. Speaker, that is before us for approval today. Mr. Speaker, around a month or so ago, Mr. Speaker, we had issues that was surrounding this land, Mr. Speaker, where there was the issue of 1056 allottees, Mr. Speaker, who were appearing in the list. Along the way, Mr. Speaker, there were issues of duplication, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the committee because of this carefully researched report that is going back to the responsible departments, Mr. Speaker. That is the lands department in the county, the NLC, Mr. Speaker, and the task force that was responsible for this, so that we solved this question of the omitted names, Mr. Speaker, the duplicated names, Mr. Speaker, so that we have a clean list progressing into the implementation of our Kericho City, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a fundamental question will come up. Most names were omitted in the list of squatters, Mr. Speaker, and there were also the duplicated list. A question will come up, Mr. Speaker, that if in the process of verifying and validating this list, Mr. Speaker, other names will be removed from the list because of duplication, Mr. Speaker, and others will be included. Meaning, we will either have 1056 plus or 1056 less, Mr. Speaker. On the issue of the committee proposed amendments, Mr. Speaker, I've seen the three on the recommendation number 1, Mr. Speaker, on the amendments on 2 acre be reserved for county government of Kericho and 3 acres be reserved for county assembly of Kericho. Mr. Speaker, your guess is as good as mine, Mr. Speaker. When I see Kericho County Assembly, Mr. Speaker, is appearing, your guess is as good as mine. Mr. Speaker, on this, on the adoption of this report, I've also seen that there are 2 churches to whom they have been given space, Mr. Speaker. How I would wish that Kenya has freedom of worship anchored in law, so that if we consider only 2 churches, Mr. Speaker, I think that one African Divine Church and Elizabeth Sigilai, Mr. Speaker, only as the beneficiaries of worship centers in our new proposed city, Mr. Speaker, we will have an unfair administration of freedom of worship, Mr. Speaker. How I would wish that more land be allocated and churches be given a chance to express interest in establishing worship centers in Chelimo area, Mr. Speaker. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I'm happy because a county referral hospital will be constructed in Chelimo, Mr. Speaker. County, I want to go on record as a county referral hospital. That is a level 5 for that matter, Mr. Speaker. Meaning, we will be expanding our Kericho County Referral Hospital in service, in capacity, in land, Mr. Speaker. But the Londiani National Referral Hospital, with a land of over 100 acres, Mr. Speaker, in Londiani, will be constructed. How I would wish that before the end of this year, Mr. Speaker, that the President of the Republic of Kenya will come to Londiani and launch the construction of the referral facility in Londiani, so that at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, we will have healthcare that is expanded, so that our people will get service for they deserve healthcare as it is anchored in the Constitution. For this, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the committee, Mr. Speaker, and CEC Lands, Mr. Speaker. I would wish that they expedite this process so that before the end of this year, Mr. Speaker, we will have a way out and conclude this matter to a positive transformation of our county. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, as I support this report.
Thank you, the Honorable Dr. Moses. Yes, the Honorable Paul B.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance to contribute on the same. First, allow me to thank the Committee on Lands. We've seen that they did a very commendable job. I think initially they started very, very well, and I tend to believe that the chair wanted to see that our town grows. It's our wish that we develop our county as well as our town, because this has been, you know, in the heart of our head of state, and mostly, and especially the leaders who are here. But on the way, Honorable Speaker, I tend to believe there are some members who chipped in, and they never wanted the whole thing to succeed. Because when you look at the what was brought in, Honorable Speaker, by some members saying that there were people who are misplaced on riparian lands. I don't know how they came out with the number. I don't know how the research they did that there were some members who are displaced on riparian lands in this county. Number two, the Talai. I don't believe way back there was some settlement down here, and most of the Talais, they were given some pieces of land to settle. But then, as we are all aware, that most of them did resell the land, and they went back again to Chelimo. So it's ideal that we get back this document to the executive to look into more further and in detail, so that we can get, a full report on the number of squatters, the number of, allottees, and maybe when it's coming back to this assembly, we get the full list, so that when we are approving it, we understand and we know who are these. Secondly, as it has been said by my good friend, that we need to know why the two churches, and how did they come out that only two judges should be given space in this area. So as we support this document, maybe we go further and highlight some areas whereby the executive should look into, because the members, the task force which was formed, to me, I think they went and did, facing on their interest. Otherwise, I support. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Paul B. Honorable members, yes, the Honorable Philip Mutai, and then I give to Hamos Birir. Then we can summarize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity in order to contribute on this very weighty and wanting report on the issue of Chelimo land. Mr. Speaker, sir, I just want to comment on the good work that was done by the Land Committee. And I want specifically to go to the observation on the public memoranda. Mr. Speaker, so looking at the list that was put on the notification on our website, the serialization of the ITs that were in the list shows that most of the beneficiaries, the purported beneficiaries, were youngsters. Mr. Speaker, sir, I was looking at the serial numbers of those beneficiaries, some starting even by the number 40. That means it's somebody who acquired the national identification card some just 3 years ago. So when, and I think most of them were in the list. Another thing is there was some conflicting interests, given that there was some, as my colleagues had put, some of the beneficiaries that were that had already been settled on the side of the lower part of Kericho, that is the Green Stadium, were also given priority in the list of beneficiaries in the Chelimo land. That means some people are perennial squatters. Even if another land is re-advertised, they will still want to be in that list. So I just want to say I support this report and say with a lot of emphasis, we take this report back to where it originates. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Okay, thank you, the Honorable Philip, the Honorable Lamos Birir, so that we can finalize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this chance you have given me so that I can contribute. First of all, I want to thank the Chair for Lands and the committee for forwarding this motion. Actually, as all of us we know, this problem of Chelimo has been there for so many years, and I hope the committee, you have done your part. The only things which I have seen since we have started these things, our people are very interested with the piece of land. So because some other people have come in to join those people who are complaining that they have no lands, the only thing is only to be taken and investigate. And then eventually these people can be surrendered the piece of land instead of going on with conflict, and otherwise these people who have already been given to be investigated, if their names are the names which has been put in the ground to be investigated if they are theirs. Otherwise, the chair and the committee and the side of executive just find out. We have seen there is a lot of problems. So let us not waste time. If that land belongs to those people, let us surrender that land to those people instead of fighting for many years. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I was only contributing those some people. I don't know. The other time we received some visitors who have said they are also complaining where they have no land. But this one of Chelimo, we have seen they have right to be given. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Amos Briggs. And okay, the Honorable Kiproti Strogony, and then we will give it to the mover of the motion to reply, and then we can maybe finalize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the report, and Mr. Speaker, I want to use this opportunity to urge the chairman of the Land Committee that even as this report goes back to the executive, we noted, Mr. Speaker, and I know even when the chairman was making, moving the motion, he acknowledged the fact that there are a number of duplications in terms of names, the ID numbers. Mr. Speaker, this report ought to be ready in the shortest time possible, but we need to check on a number of these anomalies so that, Mr. Speaker, even as we process the last phase of acquisition of this land for purpose of a number of projects to be rolled by the government, it is important that as a house, when the list comes back to this assembly, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge the committee that let us ensure the errors that we've observed in the previous list should not be there when the list comes. And number two, Mr. Speaker, I'm aware of the big stakeholder who wants to put up a major pharmaceutical in the said land. Mr. Speaker, this will be essential for the growth of this county and even this town, and even the housing, affordable housing plan that the government is now rolling. It will be key for Kericho County, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm only sounding a warning to the Committee on Lands that when the genuine list comes from NLC and the executive, it should be the list that will be, that will show the genuine holders of land in Chelimo, because I'm aware even the allottees are not numbering 600 as alleged in this report. And we are aware when the final report is tabled in this house, we will have done the necessary steps to ensure the allottees are the exact number as communicated by the NLC. With this, Mr. Speaker, I support the report.
Okay, thank you. The mover of the motion, it's your time to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker. you have given me, Mr. Speaker, to respond, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, by the mood of this House, Mr. Speaker, I want to acknowledge, because, Mr. Speaker, you know, anything to do with land is so emotive. The way we started, Mr. Speaker, we have tried several times, and for the first time, Mr. Speaker, we are coming to consensus. And I think I want to thank the honorable members because of the challenges, the challenging the reports, and coming up with the best recommendations, Mr. Speaker. So this is a wholly accepted report, Mr. Speaker, by the committee and by the members of this honorable House. And by the mood of this House, Mr. Speaker, this motion will be approved by honorable members, and I, by extension, I want to thank all the honorable members for the invaluable support they have granted us as a committee. What we need to do, Mr. Speaker, is to send maybe a message to the executive that they have been blaming us for this delaying with the report, and they are them who made numerous issues which have brought up some standstill. So after adoption of this motion, Mr. Speaker, we want the executive to use the shortest time possible which we have accorded them to incorporate all the proposals, Mr. Speaker, and again, Mr. Speaker, to clarify on the gray areas which has been highlighted, so that when they will be sending for final approval by this House, Mr. Speaker, we'll never be having those issues. And because this report was done by almost two multi-agency team, the one which was specifically dealing with the planning, the one which will be dealing with the planning will ensure that they readjust, they amend the plan to suit the proposed amendment. And the other multi-agency team, Mr. Speaker, is to ensure that there is no mismatch, there is clarity in the names of the squatters, Mr. Speaker. And I want to echo the wisdom you have as a chair, Mr. Speaker, in ensuring that we subject this plan to public. And Mr. Speaker, I think after we have subjected to public participation, Mr. Speaker, it removed the suspicion which used to exist. And by the response that we got only a mere 63 responses, it shows that it has passed credibility. So we need the executive to incorporate the issues which has been highlighted by the members of the public, so that this report will, when we will be approving for final approval, Mr. Speaker, will have a green bill of health, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as enumerated by Kiproti Trokon, Mr. Speaker, apart from the teething challenges, Mr. Speaker, there is what is so important about this expansion of town, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is one leader of German of economic zones by the name Chelule, Mr. Speaker, is hailing from this county, Mr. Speaker. And he has been calling me several times, and Mr. Speaker, saying that, Mr. Speaker, he already had an investor who is ready to invest and establish the first African world biggest pharmaceutical industry, Mr. Speaker, in Kericho. The reason for the choices of Kericho to establish this by invest at this pharmaceutical is because of the good environmental condition, Mr. Speaker, and I think there is maybe there is a reason why he want to establish. I think because of the enormous resources which we are placed as a Kericho. So, Mr. Speaker, in fast-tracking this, Mr. Speaker, we are unlocking the existing potential, Mr. Speaker, and I think it would be a game changer going forward, Mr. Speaker, when that will be done, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, another issue, Mr. Speaker, is the issue to do with affordable housing. Mr. Speaker, you have seen President launching a lot of affordable housing projects in different sectors, Mr. Speaker. Some of us may say that the existing ongoing construction of housing is affordable. I want to report to the members that the construction which is happening at Machengo and Kerego, Mr. Speaker, is not affordable housing. It is houses under National Housing Corporation, so it's not affordable housing. So as a county, we have never enjoyed the better Potomac economic transformational agenda of affordable housing. And Mr. Speaker, the President has an intention to come and launch the affordable housing on the new city, Mr. Speaker, which will be Chelimo. So we need the executive to fast track this amendment and put back to the honorable so that we approve and then ready for action, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say thank you for honorable members for supporting this report, and I want to end there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Ezron Ngatich, that is the Chairman of Land, Housing, Fiscal Planning and Settlement Committee. So, Honorable members, having had that, then I now rise to put the question, which is that this House approves the reports of Land, Housing, Fiscal Planning and Settlement Committee on the Chelimo Local Physical and Land Use Development Plan 2024-2034. Will as many as are of that similar opinion say aye? Will as many as are of that contrary opinion say nay? And the ayes have it. So, honorable members, on this report, and going by the comments by honorable members and the importance of this report, I want to direct that the County Assembly, that is through the Committee on Lands, so that we avoid the issue of back and forth, engage the executive using formal channels of communication, that is the Department of Lands, to enable a smooth sailing of this report once it is sent back to this County Assembly for approval. Please, the Honorable Chairman, the Honorable Ezron Ngatich, please note that. Secondly, is that clerk, also you share the same report with the Ministry of Lands, so that if they have any input, they can assist or send it, which I still ask that the County Assembly, through the Committee of Lands, also to engage the Ministry of Lands or any other institution, including the National Land Commission, should you require any assistance from those institutions or from the ministry. So please be guided accordingly. Honorable members, before we adjourn, I have with me some documents here. So I have with me some documents here. Of course, should have been in our order of business from, that is order number 2, communication. However, using standing order number 1, I communicate the said documents. And number 1 is that there is a submission, this is submission of county annual progress report, county budget review and outlook paper, as well as the Kericho County Finance Bill 2024. So we have 3 documents here. County annual progress report, I repeat, county budget review and outlook paper of 2024, and Kericho County Draft Finance Bill of 2024. And this document stands committed to the committee, that is the one on county annual progress report, and the one on the Kericho County Finance. Kericho County Finance Bill is committed to the Committee on Finance and Economic Planning, whereas the one on County Budget Review and Outlook paper, we committed to the Committee on Budgets and Implementation. Is it the Budget Committee? Budget and Appropriation, not Implementation. Budget and Appropriation Committee. So that is County Budget Review and Outlook paper, as well, and then the other two, that is County Annual Progress Report, as well as Kericho County Finance Bill of 2024, be committed to the Committee on Finance and Economic Planning. I will request that the chairmen, so the committee members, you note the timelines of the three documents and the importance, because it also forms the basis of preparing the next medium-term expenditure framework for the county government. And honorable members, there being no any other order this afternoon, this House stands adjourned until 12th November 2024, our morning session, because we are going for a short recess. But of course, should there be the special sitting, you shall always be notified accordingly as per our standing orders. And therefore, let us adjourn until 12th November 2024. Thank you and have a good evening.